triggering things. So many Indigenous people living here and residential school survivors and intergenerationally tragic event, and more news is coming. It seems from across the country, but hopefully it'll spur something positive. Also acknowledge the tragedy in London, Ontario, the senseless killing of 4 Muslims, and brings to mind that in our growing diverse community, we have 30 or 40 Muslims living here, and our hearts go out to them, and we want them to know that they're all welcome in our community. Also, take a note to congratulate all the graduates who have had such unusual graduations this year. So congratulations to graduates, whether it be from the high school or the elementary schools, WASA, distance education, or the college, wherever you've been to school. And know that we have Indigenous Day coming up next Monday, and I'll be raising the Lac Seul flag with Chief Bull at the TIC in a small ceremony. And then we have Canada Day, and this year it's going to be a bit of an unusual Canada Day. I think some are calling it a day of mourning, but I still think there's much to celebrate in Canada and about Canada, while we acknowledge some of the things we could have done better in the past and today. I also want to acknowledge the volunteers, and I think about the Walleye weekend that just happened and how successful that was. I'm told a well-run event from my vantage points across the bay. It sure was a running event. The boats went out there, well done to all the volunteers, and the proceeds going to things like the Meacham food program at the hospital, the proceeds of the food, the fish, much of it. And all the volunteers in town, whether it be at Cedar Bay with good news coming out of there locally, or volunteers who clean up parts of town on an ongoing basis. The volunteers who manned the Wellington Street Memorial for over a week. All the community clubs in town, the church groups who do such good things. So just a shout out to the volunteers as we start our meeting here as well. Are there any amendments to the agenda, Clerk?
Yes, through you, Mayor Lawrence, we do have one addition to the agenda this evening. It will be item 6.12, Friends of Cedar Bay Loan Guarantee.
Thank you. A motion to confirm the agenda as amended for the June 16th meeting. Moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Timpson. All in favor? Carried. Declarations of pecuniary interest.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, pursuant to our procedure bylaw, we are required to report when a declaration was made in a closed session meeting. So for the April 21st, 2021 closed session meeting, Councillor Cassidy had declared an interest in closed session item number 6.4, the details of which are further elaborated on in the closed session minutes. But for the purposes of open session, we just have to note that declaration was made at that meeting.
Thank you, Clerk. And nothing for tonight.
Correct.
Adoption of minutes for the May 19th, 2021 regular council meeting minutes, May 19th, 2021 statutory public meeting minutes, and May 15th, 2021 special council meeting minutes be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Howie, seconded by Councillor Fenelon. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. And now motion to, we will do the staff reports. So 6.1, Community Improvement Plan Update. Seeing none, 6.2. Sorry, was that a raised hand, Councillor Bath?
Yes, for 6.1.
Yeah, sorry. You'll have to, can you adjust your camera angle a little bit? Your hand, I can't tell whether you're raising your hand or not, just the way it's. coming up. So
Yeah,
6.1,
right.
thank you.
Yep.
6.2, multi-site building condition assessment. Councillor Timpson. 6.3, municipal surplus and transfer. Councillor Legel. 6.4, Bigwood traffic study. Seeing none. 6.5, NOHFC contribution agreement, Bigwood Lake extension. Seeing none. 6.6, municipal accommodation tax amendment. Seeing none. 6.7, accounts receivable write-off Casper Aviation. Seeing none. 6.8, deeming bylaw Hudson. Seeing none. 6.9, Hudson land sale. None. 6.10, plastic bag ban bylaw information report. Clerk, you'll have to unmute. You'll have to unmute, clerk.
My apology. This one will have to be lifted because it's seeking direction from council.
Thank you. And 6.11, municipal accommodation tax agreement with the Sioux Chamber of Commerce. And then the added one, 6.12, Friends of Cedar Bay and the loan guarantee.
Correct.
And we received that report. Did we? Yes, we received that report. I read it this afternoon. Yeah, thanks. Okay, seeing none.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, if we can, just because the actual wording of that resolution isn't on the agenda because it's being added, if I could just read that aloud for the public record, and then if no one wants to list it, that's perfectly fine. The recommendation for item 6.12, Friends of Cedar Bay Loan Guarantee, reads that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux hereby agrees to guarantee the Bank of Montreal loan approval for the Friends of Cedar Bay in the amount of $57,000, and further, that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux authorizes and directs the Mayor and the Clerk to execute a corporate guarantee for the Friends of Cedar Bay loan from the Bank of Montreal.
Thanks, and that was quite clear in the report that you gave, but does anybody wish to lift that? Councillor Timpson, you do? Yep, JT. All right, so the motion to adopt the items not requiring separate discussion, those items are 6.4, 6.5, 6.6, 6.7, 6.8, 6.9, and 6.11. Did I get those correct? Yep. So a motion mover to adopt those items not requiring separate discussion. Moved by Councillor Fanlon, seconded by Councillor Howie. All in favor? Carried. And now we move to delegations. One delegation tonight, and the presenter is Michael Scott, related to the Hudson Dog Park. Mr. Scott, you have the floor.
Am I able to share the PowerPoint, or has everybody seen it?
You may share it. We've seen it in our packages, but you may also share it.
All right, so it's a pretty basic plan for Hudson. We want to take an existing structure that's not being used. They have shortened the Hudson rink down to a smaller quarter here and left this back section that is being unused for a rink. What we are proposing to do is to go in and fix up the walls at our own cost. So no additional cost to the town. And basically set up a dog park in there with a gated entrance here. So you can bring your dog in, then you let them into the bigger run area so that they can actually play and run around. We'll have a recycle bin and a trash receptacle for the actual use of getting rid of garbage and stuff. And what we want to do is fundraise our own money to take care of the construction fees and upkeep of the lawn within inside that area. So if we need to go cut the grass, we'll go over in ourselves and cut the grass. We're going to paint up the boards, do all the construction ourselves and supply the materials. We're even going to get into a rainwater collection a bit so we can actually water our dogs and other animals that are coming there. Maybe we have some plants growing in the future to make it more of a homey garden dog park. So basically, we're going to have a list of rules. So more of an etiquette issue. We've drafted these from numerous dog parks around the area within the province. So we just want to make sure that they run by the town bylaws for dog parks as well. And any rules and regulations that are basically out there for the town. So we're going to basically start off small with a general park. Go in with your dogs, run them around. And then in the future, as we get more popularity, we're going to add in more obstacles and maybe more fitness related stuff for the dogs to take part in. I've included a time schedule of when we started to plan this whole venture and a kind of an outline of when we can have things done and in place, if approved by council, to take care of these. So basically our only request from the town is a location, a garbage bin and recycle bin that can be serviced, approval for the location of the dog park, whether it be the rink or not, it could be somewhere else, and a copy of the town bylaws so that we can make a big posted sign for the dog park stating the rules nice and clear, along with our own etiquette rules for the dog park, and just outline it that way so it's all nice, clear, legible. Probably get Cat's Paws to do it up also in Slavic so that anybody coming will know it. And it's multicultural. This park is both for Sioux and Hudson, not just Hudson. And basically our contribution as people in Hudson is we're going to fundraise to help maintain it ourselves. Volunteers to do any repairs, cut the lawn, get any paths that we need in the winter to get in and out of it. And basically that's about it. Anybody have any questions or thoughts?
Sure, thanks, Mr. Scott. We'll go to council and go around the table. And I just, clerk, you could just confirm for me, council doesn't make a decision during or after delegations. It would provide direction to staff to bring a report back probably to the next meeting or as soon as possible, given the timelines that Mr. Scott has outlined. So just
The
so
timelines are flexible.
okay, so yeah, the council does not make decisions on the day of delegations is the way the system works. But great presentation. I'm going to go around the council table and I'll start with Councillor Fanlon.
Hello, am I on?
You are.
Okay, yeah, this, I think I talked to a couple people about a month ago about them come and see me about the dog park, and I told them to, you know, they're gonna have to get together with a, create a committee and put something on paper and take it to council. So I see they brought it and it sounds good. It's just up to council and staff to see if it's going to be a good fit for the rink area.
Thank you, Councillor Fanlon. I'll go to Councillor Lego.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I know that in Sioux, they're raising money for a dog park at some point. I don't know if who was doing that or where the money has gone, or if they still want to do one in Sioux Lookout, or they want to partner with Mr. Scott in Hudson. I think it would be a great spot. There's already boards up there, and they can fix that up in no time and have it going. So I think that would be a perfect place for it myself.
Thanks. CAO, did you want to comment?
Yes, just to add what Councillor Lego has said, yes, there are interested parties and they have approached the municipality to continue the dog park development in the one that they had started in Sioux Lookout. It's my understanding about $1,300 was raised for the dog park, and that is still in our municipal funds to be used for that purpose. It hasn't advanced, of course, because of lack of staff resources, but it will be put back on the agenda once we get our complement of staff at the rec department.
Thank you. Councillor Howie.
I just wanted to add thank you, Michael, for your presentation. It's great to see a group of volunteers willing to step up to such a degree that you've committed to tonight in your presentation. So thanks, and I think it's a great idea, especially in Hudson.
Thank you. Councillor Timpson.
Yeah, just a couple of comments and questions. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I'm curious to know how many people are on your committee. Curious to know how many dogs are in Hudson. I sometimes think there's more dogs than people in Sioux Lookout, so it's probably the same in Hudson. And has the Hudson Advisory Committee been approached about what they think of it, and particularly shortening the length of the hockey rink? Is that going to create an issue? So that's three questions.
The hockey rink has already been shortened, and it's already been divided off into a smaller section. We have approached the advisory committee, and actually Marlene Ledbeater, who's a part of it, is the one they encouraged me to do this more.
Okay.
To bring it to us, the town of getting it going. Also on my block alone, there's 10 houses and there's 9 dogs in total. So to go over the whole Hudson, I'm not quite sure, but I'm pretty certain it's probably equal to people. So,
And sorry.
we do run our dogs out in the bushes and stuff, but come winter time when it's a little bit harder to get to those bush trails, it's nice to have a place where you can go and let your dog loose and run.
Mhm.
It's gonna actually burn off energy. I have an 86-pound golden retriever. She takes a lot of running. So it's a place where you can go and let them join in, and all the dogs on this block like to get together and actually hang out and play.
That's
It's
good.
also another place for us to bring them all together and socialize so that they're not at each other's throats when you do walk by them.
And how many people on your committee or that are working with you?
There is about 6 right now. There are
Okay.
more that have shown interest, but we haven't grown any bigger yet, just because we want to feel out what we can do before we go too far in depth.
Okay, great. Good luck.
Thank you. Councillor Bath.
Yeah, thanks for that, Michael. It's nice to see the initiative coming from volunteers again. That's the second meeting in a row we've seen that, and it's great to see. So good luck with this, and I certainly support you all the way.
All right. Is there anything you'd like to close off with, Mr. Scott?
No, I just look forward to hearing back from you. I already have a stockpile of supplies to go start fixing it up when we're ready.
Well, it seems like council is being positive. So do we need to provide some direction to staff here to bring a report back with a resolution? Clerk.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence. No, I think the the presentation was very clear, and I think council's intent to consider it in a positive light is very clear. So staff will bring a report at a subsequent meeting. No specific direction required at this time.
Great. So thanks very much for your presentation, Mr. Scott. Well done. And thanks again. I echo the comment about the volunteers, and I should have made a shout out to, in my introductory comments, to the volunteers who look after animals so well in Sioux Lookout. The Sioux Lookout, help me with the name, Sioux Lookout
Pause.
Paws. Yeah,
Do
thank
look
you.
out for pause. Yeah.
Great. So thanks very much, Mr. Scott, and look forward to seeing this move forward.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to the staff reports. The first one is the 6.1 Community Improvement Plan Update. The council receives the report dated May 28th, 2021, respecting the Community Improvement Plan Update, and further, the council provide direction to update the Community Improvement Plan in accordance with the recommendations contained within the report dated June 16, 2021. Moved by Councillor Fanlon, seconded by Councillor Bath, and I'll start the discussion with Councillor Bath.
Yeah, the only, I'm in favor of this. I know when we did it last time, it was a pretty good presentation. There's only a couple of articles in here that I wanted to address, and it was one was in section 2, paragraph 5. I would guess it would be was residential intensification, and then that comes up again in the recommendations from staff to raise the grant from 3,000 to 5,000 per unit. I believe there should be a size stipulation here. I don't think we want to be granting for basically bunkhouses and spare bedrooms in the basement. So I think we should have a size stipulation with those. That's really the only thing I had to say about it.
Any other, nobody else lifted this, but I'll go around the table quickly. Councillor Lego?
Yeah, I'm sort of okay with it. I'm not a big fan of using tax money for private businesses. That's just my personal opinion on it.
Councillor Howie?
I do agree with Councillor Lego, but I'm for it.
Councillor Fanlon?
It worked before for us, and I'm hoping when I look at what's on there that if somebody can step up and work on Front Street a little bit to help enhance the buildings, structures and sites. That's all I got to think.
Councillor Timpson?
Yeah, I like the idea of, encouraging, and even though it's businesses, I do like the idea of encouraging and upgrading our business section. The only thing I saw was there's so many different ways people can use this fund, and only $25,000 in it. If people used it as to the full extent, we would need a lot more than $25,000. And I also think too, we would get that money back in taxes eventually, so that I think it is a good investment. But is 25,000 enough is what I'm asking at this point.
Staff is, I think this is your report, CBO.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Lawrence. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the years. Some years you're going to see a high uptake. I mean, part of our responsibility, once we get it updated, is to better advertise and provide these opportunities to business owners. But definitely, some years you're going to see a big uptake, and some years you're not. Potentially, it would be a fund where it grows. Like every year, you put in 25,000. So one year you use 10,000. The next year you have 40,000 in there, just to keep it growing, and maybe set a maximum of 75,000 in the bank, and then just so you can be ready for those years that may have a larger uptake.
Good. Anything further, council? Then I will call the vote on the motion. Sorry, clerk, did you have something?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence. So just to clarify, for staff, the direction to staff then is to implement all of the recommendations and then bring back the final updated plan for adoption by council.
In accordance with the recommendations contained to provide direction to staff to update so are you reiterating the motion, or?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, no, just looking to clarify that direction, that council does want all of the new incentives added to the plan.
I think nobody spoke out against any one in particular.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Item 6.2, multi-site building condition assessment report. This is an information report only for council, so there is no motion to, do we need a motion to receive it or just, nope, information report. And I'll start with Councillor Timpson.
Yeah, yeah, a couple of things regarding, of course, Cedar Bay. First of all, I think it should be noted that the electrical upgrade has occurred in the stable. And there is now upgraded electricity in the stable itself. The pavilion is electrified and the new latrine is also electrified. And so that brings that, well, maybe that brings that up to almost a good, I don't know, but a couple of small errors there. It said Cedar Bay buildings were built in 1970. They're more or less around 1980. Same with the barn. The address is 135 West Point Cove Road. Talks about the sanitary sewer and water system there. I was never aware that there was a sewer and water system in that area, and maybe that's something they have to look at to, I don't know whether it can be revitalized or how that works, but something that they ought to think about. If we'd known that when we built the latrine, it might have looked quite different. But I was really interested in the cost to fix the cabins down at the lakeshore. And I really would like to challenge council to let's get with the program and do something about Cedar Bay and use this information to get going on it. It's a jewel. People want to be there. People want to rent those cabins. People from outside want to rent the cabins. Let's get on with it. It's been 15 years since it was brought first to council, and almost 10 years since a report was very well received by council to move on this. So please, let's get moving on this, using this information, and start applying for grants to upgrade those buildings so they can be used to their extent. That's what I need to say.
Thank you. Councillor Fallon.
One comment I have is about the existing fire hall that we have in Hudson. The little lean-to shack that is on the side of the hall used to be where the fire truck was parked. And that was, I don't know when that was put on there. That was before 1970, I think. But the original hall we have right now was, the first half was built and finished in 1985. And the last one, the west two bays on the west side were put in 1995. I don't think it means a whole bunch, but I'm just trying to correct it. It wasn't there. We started in the little building on the side of the community hall. And then we fundraised money to build a new fire hall. Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Lego.
Yeah, just going through some of the poor facilities, baseball field structure. Looks like there's minimal work that needs to be done there to upgrade it. Something that facilities could look at doing. Probably looking at that for the budget of next year. Again, Cedar Bay cabins, as Councillor Timpson has pointed out, we need to either have a special council meeting or a meeting to see what direction we are going and then implement that direction. Councillor Fenlon has touched on some of the stuff that's going on in Hudson. The rest of the stuff, everything else seems to be in fair or good condition. Not sure of the lifespan of those, that when it'll move down into poor condition, but I guess it's a wait and see. We are maintaining what we have as we go. So I think we're doing a good job at maintaining what we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bath.
No, I have no comments.
Thank you. Councillor Howie.
I feel this report does touch a bit on areas highlighted earlier about the municipality's position within Cedar Bay. So thanks to Councillor Timpson and Councillor Lego about stressing the need to have a discussion surrounding the municipal position on it. I note some facilities are close to hitting the fair mark for the facility condition index. So it's good to see that most of the assets are in good working order. And Councillor Lego did touch that the baseball diamonds, need minimal things to fix. So it's going to involve a deeper discussion in areas like Cedar Bay, but it's good to see where things are presently.
Thank you. Yeah, I would note that it's good to see the majority are in green or in good. That's a good sign. And the minority are poor or fair. And I'm sure the discussion here and this information that you've received in this report will inform staff's decisions, and probably already has when we look at item 6.3 on the agenda coming up, some of the items in that. So if there's nothing else, Council, there is no motion to hear, so we will move on to item 6.3. Municipal 2020 municipal surplus and transfer. The council authorizes the 2020 municipal surplus of $805,382 be allocated to the following areas. 1, emergency services project, $4,494.72. Bigwood traffic impact study, $25,000. Boat launch reserve, $41,747. Fleet recreation, $50,000. Facilities building, $300,000. And finally, infrastructure reserve fund, $384,140.28. Moved by Councillor Scanlon, seconded by Councillor Lego. Discussion starting with Councillor Lego.
I like the fact that we're using some of this to cover some of the things that have come up in the past. Emergency services, the Bigwood traffic, it's best to use the surplus instead of taking long-term debt on that. I'm very happy to see that the boat launch is finally paid off after 12 years. The only thing that I would really like to see, since we've neglected our landfill closure, that maybe we take some of the infrastructure money that's going into that reserve and put some of that onto our landfill closure. I know that for years that we didn't put any money into it, and now we're sort of trying to catch up. And a couple of months ago, we passed a bylaw for using user fees to pay for that. So if we could bump that up a bit, but that'll be up to council to discuss. And if we want to go that route, we'll go that route. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Fenelon.
Yeah, I was surprised to see it there. Extra money handed over, and I'm glad that they're not using long-term debt. And I think that's a good deal, and welcome it. It's a good job done. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Timpson.
No comment, just if the treasurer could refresh us on why we have the surplus, presumably a lot connected to the pandemic, but then on the other hand, the pandemic cost us some money too. Is there any way we can get just a 2-minute summary of that from the treasurer?
I'll ask the treasurer. There you go.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I currently don't have that information with me. Some of the surplus came from multiple different areas where the municipality saved, and then where the municipality received extra funding from other sources and everything else. The CAO may have a better idea as to exactly where everything came from the meetings that we've had with the auditors, but because I don't have the information in front of me, I can't remember exactly where everything came from.
Yeah, I don't think council is looking for exact. We're just looking at the general, a general statement on the surplus. CAO?
As the treasurer through your worship, as the treasurer pointed out, again, I don't have it in front of me either, but when we went through the audited statements with the auditors, we were able to find efficiencies in some of our departments. Some of it was because we didn't replace positions because of COVID. So there was savings there as well, and some of the projects as well had to be deferred for whatever reason. One thing, we did have increased COVID costs, but we were fortunate in receiving funding from the province to cover those costs, as well as the additional phase 2 funding as well. So we've been able to kind of mitigate those extra costs, so that helped put us in a surplus position.
Thank you. Councillor Bath.
Yeah, it's nice to see this. I'm really happy to see the large influx into the infrastructure reserve fund, and being a reserve fund, it's there and we know it's there. So I like to see that. I'm happy to see that for sure. Other than that, I think it's great that we have it. It's been used, I think, very, very in a broad way throughout the municipality. So thanks to Carly and Michelle for that.
Thank you. Councillor Howie.
Thanks. My only question was regarding the first item of the items being requested for transfer. It was the over budgeting capital projects in 2020 by emergency services. I was just hoping staff could touch on what areas went over budget or the contributing factors to that.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, there was a couple of items within the radio frequency devices that we needed to purchase, and council only had allotted a certain amount of taxation dollars to be placed towards that area. So that's why we're requesting to use the remaining amount from taxation dollars. It had everything to do with putting in the frequency, the new radios within both Sioux Lookout, Hudson, and Public Works. And it just came over budget just a little bit.
Thanks, Carly. Anything further? I know Councillor Lego floated an idea, but did staff want to comment on that? CAO.
If council wants to make a decision on that particular, the infrastructure reserve transfer, to put some money towards the post-closure costs for the landfill site, that can be done at this time, or at budget time, we can consider that when we do our budget, to instead of financing it through our current taxation, we can do it through reserves.
So you can do it through reserves from the infrastructure reserve fund. Is that what you're saying?
Correct, at budget time for next year, if that's what council wants to do, or it can be done now through a motion.
I think that seems appropriate, and Councillor Lane goes nodding his head. So we'll say that we'll take a look at that at budget time.
Okay, we will make note of it to make sure to take that into consideration.
Yeah, I'm not saying the council's approving it. It's an idea to be considered at budget time. Councillor Lego was shaking his head saying he's approved it, but it'll take a few more. If there's nothing else, I'll call the motion, call the vote. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And the next item is 6.10, plastic bag ban bylaw information report. The council receives this report for informational purposes and provides direction to staff to either further pursue the plastic bag bylaw or continue to promote the use of reusable bags. So this is framed as a motion, Mr. Clerk. So moved by Councillor Howie, seconded by Councillor Fanlon. And discussion, starting with the clerk. I'll let you.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I'm actually going to defer to the Manager of Development Services. This is his report from the Environment Committee. I just asked that it be lifted because the committee is seeking direction from council on whether or not to bring forward the ban the bag bylaw once again.
The committee is seeking direction from council? Okay, thank you. Development Services Manager.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, yeah, so this has been kind of on the committee agenda for some time now, as you can see in the report. So they'd obviously like to see you provide direction to proceed with the ban, and we can kind of start the ball rolling. Obviously, this wouldn't happen overnight. It'd be a process again, like it was last time, but you know, we're hoping council sees fit to move forward with it. And I think being 10 years down the road from the last time, I think the public and possibly business owners may be a little more receptive to it.
So I'll start off the discussion with not only is Sioux Lookout 10 years further down the road, but so is the country. And my reading is that there's some aggressive measures being implemented, I think, at the federal level, which includes banning plastic bags within, I think, the next year or so. Is that, can anybody add more definite CAO information to that?
I was going to defer to the clerk. He has information on that. At least I think he does.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I am aware that the federal government has put out, I believe, a position paper or a white paper on its intent or its approach to reducing plastics across Canada. I'm aware that the report exists. I haven't read it in detail. I do know that there are some plans to put certain things in place. I believe the federal government intends to by the end of this year. I'm not sure which of those particular plans or items they're planning to bring into place at that time. So what I can say for certainty is that the federal government is looking at reducing plastics. I'm not, perhaps members of the Environment Committee have read that report. I'm not sure. But it is something that's being considered in consultation with the provinces and various environmental organizations.
Thank you. Council comments. So what staff is asking for here is direction that we provide direction to either further pursue the plastic bag bylaw or to continue to promote the use of reusable bags. So that's the sort of decision. Councillor Lego.
Yeah, I'll start it off on this note. I'm against government getting into business's business. So I would say just carry on doing what we're doing, promoting reusable bags, even though some of those reusable bags that I see are not the best looking things when they go to the grocery store, full of cat hair, dog hair, dirt. A lot of people make their own choices. I believe in individual choices, and people make their own choice to either take a bag or not a bag. I offer that at my business. People say no thanks. So I don't want to see us going down that road. And if we have to, at some point, when the federal and provincial government make those decisions, then we can make, they've made our decision for us. So that's where I stand on that.
Thank you. Councillor Fallon.
Yeah, I think we should wait and see what the federal government's wants to bring down and how we're going to deal with that within the plastic bags. And we should hang on to reusable bags. You try and encourage that. One thing I want to say is that what's the alternative to plastic, which is paper. And if you listen to some of the people out there that are talking about the wood supplies in the forest, that I don't think it's any value in trying to use more paper products than plastic, because the forests are depleting too fast, which is putting a heavy weight on the communities and whatever else to do with that. So I'm sort of up in the air about changing from plastic to paper because there's too much on the wood supply end of that thing. Sort of what I got to say, I guess.
Thank you. Councillor Howie.
Yeah, I think, now is the time to be progressive and ban plastic bags. I think the majority of plastic bags do end up in landfills. They don't get reused. I know people say, oh, I use them, to put my cat litter in or whatever. I think they're going to end up in a landfill ultimately. There's the argument of, oh, they biodegrade. They don't really biodegrade. They just become a bit of dust. And I think the last figure I saw was about 34 million plastic bags in landfills each day. So I think now's the time to draft a bylaw and pass it.
Thank you. Councillor Bath.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Councillor Lego on this. I don't like the idea of getting away from the reusable bag. I think it's done very well. I think the businesses in town are doing a very good job of promoting reusable bags. The other concern I have with a plastic bag bylaw is it's not broad enough. If we're going to start getting into garbage on the streets, we need to deal with all of it, not just one item. So I'm not really in favor of changing it from what we have now.
Thank you. Councillor Timpson.
Uh,
Being a
well,
member
I
of the
agree-
Environment Committee, Joyce, I left you to last.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Howie. I think we just have to take the bull by the horns and take a stand, and go for it. It's not that it's personal choice, yes, but it's my choice of using a plastic bag is in the long run is affecting the environment and the planet as a whole. And I think we need to find reusable bags that are truly reusable, aren't made out of plastic necessarily, but cloth and so on, and just get used to doing that. I mean, let's be with the program again and just do it and make a strong statement by this initiative. And help the people here. They'll be ready for it when the broader report comes out or the broader initiatives come out from the federal government. They'll be ready for what they need to be doing. That's one of the things the Environment Committee has done is attempted to make the people ready for the stringent measures that are likely to come down eventually, and start cleaning up. We'll start cleaning up our landfill. So I am in favor of going the full Monty on this.
Thank you. Clerk.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I've managed to gather my thoughts. So just to clarify, the document I was referring to from the Government of Canada is called the Proposed Integrated Management Approach to Plastic Products to Prevent Waste and Pollution. I have a link for that, which I can circulate to members. As well, just looking at a media release from October 7th, 2020. Based on that, it's saying that a criteria that have been developed, 6 items the government proposes to ban are plastic checkout bags, straws, stir sticks, 6-pack rings, cutlery, and foodware made from hard to recycle plastic. They go on to say in that release that these regulations will be finalized by the end of 2021. So I just wanted to provide, I talked about it, but I didn't have the specifics, so I wanted to share that with council.
And sorry, you said plastic checkout bags. Is that in that list?
It is.
All right. So we're now, oh, sorry, Councillor Howley.
I just had a couple other things to add. I don't think if we go in this direction of banning plastic bags, then we'll be moving away from reusable bags. I think Councillor Bath raised an interesting point, which was, we shouldn't be focusing on one specific item. Maybe staff could draft a bylaw to ban all single-use plastics within the municipality, such as the items outlined in the report in the link that Brian shared. That's just my thoughts. If we're if we're not comfortable focusing on one item, maybe we focus on more than just the single-use plastic bag.
All right, I don't see anybody else's hand up, so I'll say, sorry, Councillor Timpson, yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't know whether that's within the jurisdiction of the municipality, and it may be virtually impossible until the federal government comes down with something. I mean, yeah, it'd be great if we could, but I don't think it's realistic at this point to go that route. With the plastic bags, we can work with the merchants and helping them, to talk about alternatives and other strategies that they might have. It's probably one of the easier plastics to ban. I don't like the word ban. I'd rather say eliminate. The others are, I think they're just too hard. And there is alternatives to plastic checkout bags, easy alternatives, very easy alternatives. So that's my feeling. I would like a recorded vote on this as well.
Councillor Howie.
Maybe the clerk or staff could touch on this, but how does this approach compare to the approach taken in Fort Francis for a comprehensive ban of single-use plastics?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I am not familiar with the specifics of Fort Francis's ban, so we would need to do a little bit of research to look at that.
So can I go back to the beginning, clerk? Is this to give direction to the committee or to staff?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, in this particular case, it's going to be one and the same. If council says move forward with the development of a ban the bag bylaw, that will have implications for both staff and the committee. The committee will have the responsibility, if we use a similar approach as 10 years ago, the committee will be involved with public education and engaging with merchants and that type of thing, and staff would be involved with the actual development of the bylaw. So, if I may, sorry, I do recommend, so that there's a clear decision this evening, that this resolution be amended and that it be written in the affirmative, which resolutions should be, and therefore would need to state that council receives this report as information purposes and provides a direction to staff to implement a plastic bag bylaw.
And delete the or continue to use reusable bags.
Correct.
Thank you, because you brought me to my next point, which would be that it could be a rather awkward situation. So we need, that's an amendment to the motion on the floor.
Correct.
So I would need the mover to agree to that amendment, Councillor Howie, I think. And the seconder, clerk?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, under our new procedure bylaw, only the mover needs to agree.
Yeah, good. So the motion is amended to remove the last phrase or to continue to promote the use of reusable bags. Correct? Do we need to vote on? Do we need to vote on that?
Yes.
That amendment?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you. All right. So now we have the motion on that council receives the report for informational purposes.
Yep.
And provides direction to staff to pursue the plastic bag bylaw. Plastic bag ban bylaw? Plastic bag bylaw.
I believe that's the intent.
Okay. Councillor Howie.
I would just like to second Councillor Timpson's request for a recorded vote on this motion.
I don't think it needs seconding. I think if one councillor requests it, it's done. Is that right, clerk?
That is correct, Mayor Lawrence.
Thank you. And no vote is required on that, Councillor Howie. It's just if one councillor requests it, it's implemented. All right.
It just wasn't mentioned in any of the reviews, so I just wanted to make sure it didn't get missed. That's all.
Sorry, what was it?
I just wanted to mention it again, as there was considerable dialogue after Councillor Timpson mentioned it. So I just wanted to make sure it was clear.
Thank you. So the motion is there. And my concern only, I have several concerns. One is I remember how divisive and ugly this got the last time. And when I add on to that is with the federal government and with the statement that the clerk made, it seems to me that the federal government is going to lead on this, and we will follow, and they will, to the banning all plastics. We can't. If it's done at a national level, the alternatives and available will be on a full market basis, not just in our town, and they will be much more available, and I think it'll make a better transition for merchants. I think we're going to go in this direction regardless. I think the federal government seems to have committed to that. So at this time, I'm in favor of pausing this until we see what the federal government brings down. This is my opinion. I'm just putting that out there as part of the discussion. Councillor Timpson, yeah.
I'm gonna say, well, this could all die, that could all die if there's an election in the fall. So it may be another 5-10 years before a federal government gets around to banning plastics, single-use plastics.
You might be right, and then we could consider bringing this back perhaps. But there's no election schedule at this time, as far as I know. The election isn't due until the federal election until help me somebody, another 2 years, I would say.
For 22, I think.
So although I'm going to say no to it this time, my feeling is that it's a pause no, and to see where the federal government leads us or not, and then bring it back. So if there's no further discussion, I will call the vote on CIO. Yes, sorry, I see your hand there. Yeah.
A recorded vote was asked, so the clerk should be calling it.
Understood. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Okay, so we will go through each member of council, and I will identify you by name, and please advise if you are for or against the resolution. So right now, the resolution written in the affirmative states that council received this report for informational purposes and provides directions to staff to pursue the plastic bag bylaw. Councillor Howie.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Timpson.
For.
Thank you. Mayor Lawrence.
Opposed.
Thank you. Councillor Bath.
Opposed.
Okay. And Councillor Fenelon.
You're muted.
I'm against it, right?
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Lego.
Against.
Okay. So there are 2 in favor, 4 against. The motion is defeated.
Thank you. Moving on to item 6.12, and you'll have to, this is the additional item. Could you please read the Friends of Cedar Bay item, clerk?
Through Mayor Lawrence, certainly. So the motion reads that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux hereby agrees to guarantee the Bank of Montreal loan approval for the Friends of Cedar Bay in the amount of $57,000, and further, that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux authorizes and directs the mayor and the clerk to execute a corporate guarantee for the Friends of Cedar Bay loan from the Bank of Montreal.
So we need a mover, moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Fenelon. And Councillor Timpson.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the wording there, Brian. At the very first part, it says the municipality will guarantee. Would that be a capital G guarantee, or agrees to be the guarantor, or is that covered in the second clause? The reason I'm asking is that the BMO has been really quite sticky with the exact wording.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I used the wording from the email from the representative of the Bank of Montreal.
Mhm. So do you think that that second clause would cover it? It says execute a, I think you said execute a agreement.
Yes,
Agreement.
through you, Mayor Lawrence. Yes, the specific directions from the Bank of Montreal representative was they needed an enabling resolution, which is the first part, and then they also need the actual corporate guarantee signed, which is the second part.
Okay, that sounds like it covers it all. Yeah. And thank you so much. We from Friends of Cedar Bay, we do definitely appreciate this. We preferred to go this route rather than have the municipality front the money. And we thank the CAO for her ongoing support for what we're trying to do there. And think people will notice that we've finished some very significant upgrades there already. And you know, our goal is to make that facility a really pleasantly usable, accessible destination for everybody. So thank you very much.
Thank you. CAO, your hand is up. Or you're
No, I was just going to help provide clarification with reference to the motion, but the clerk covered it. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Lego.
Yeah, just wondering if Councillor Timpson knows when their funding is supposed to come through to repay said loan.
We don't know for sure. We have to pay this loan back by April 2022. So, I mean, the federal government has to have the money out by 2022, but everything has been very slow. We haven't even got the contribution agreement yet, but we did get their written approval to go ahead with the work, and the BMO accepted that as well. So it's just very, very slow process right now. And as soon as we get it, we want to pay off all debts and loans and everything. So
Okay, and they've guaranteed you the funds?
yes, oh yes, yes, federal and provincial. They've guaranteed it. It's just they haven't come through, and the CAO was able to reassure us that generally they would come through. So
Thank you.
Any further questions, Council? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. No notices of motion to reconsider outside resolutions, so we're into councillor reports. Councillor Fallon.
Oh, sorry, Mayor Lawrence, if we can pass the bylaws.
Oh,
first.
I'm sorry. Why? How did I get there already? Gee. I so apologize. Thanks. Clerk, please proceed.
Through Mayor Lawrence, thank you. So there are a number of bylaws before council this evening for to be given 3 readings and passing as follows. Bylaw number 5221, being a bylaw to authorize and direct the mayor and the clerk to execute a contribution agreement between the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux and the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation. Bylaw number 5321, being a bylaw to authorize and direct the mayor and the clerk to execute a contribution agreement between the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux and the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation for the Bigwood Lake Development Traffic Impact Study. Bylaw number 5421, being a bylaw to authorize and direct the mayor and the clerk to execute agreements and documents regarding the sale of the hereinafter described land by the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux to James Scott Haynes and Elsie DeRuin, 108 and 112 2nd Street in Hudson. Bylaw number 5521, being a bylaw to authorize the conveyance of certain hereinafter described land by the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux to James Scott Haynes and Elsie DeRuin, and to authorize and direct the mayor and the clerk to execute the transfer, again, 108 and 112 2nd Street, Hudson. Bylaw number 59-21 being a bylaw to deem lots 73, 74, 75, and lot 76 on plan M232, Municipality of Sioux not to be on a registered plan of subdivision. I just want to clarify that the 23 before the M will come out in the final version of the bylaw. Bylaw number 61-21 being a bylaw to establish a municipal accommodation tax for the municipality of Sioux and to rescind bylaw number 87-19. And finally, bylaw number 62-21 being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and the clerk to execute the municipal accommodation tax agreement between the corporation of the municipality of Sioux and the Sioux Chamber of Commerce.
Move that these bylaws be read first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councillor Howie, seconded by Councillor Fallon. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Now I can say no notices of motion to reconsider, outside endorsements, and councillor reports. All of you have had lots of time to think about your reports now. Councillor Fallon.
Yes, had a LCC meeting, which took up quite a bit of time on the bug spraying that's going on and whereabouts they are. And quite a few people involved in that. I didn't think there was going to be that many, but there is quite a few. The spray program, I think, is going to go for 10 or 12 days. And reports from the forests that are around us. Everybody seems to be going back to work and cutting wood. So other than that, not much else in there.
Thank you.
I did miss the economic development meeting a couple of weeks back there. I was busy with a fire truck. So, yeah.
That's honest of you to admit it. but you were honestly preoccupied, so good. Councillor Howie.
Yeah, the special council meetings that we've hosted, including our all-day event, the Economic Development Commission that Councillor Fenlon missed. I believe there wasn't quorum for that, so it was actually canceled. So you're off the hook there, Councillor Fenlon. We could have used you though. But other than that, it's been a relatively quiet month. Again, just fielding questions as they come. That's about it. Hoping the summer and the reopening will prove a little more fruitful for the municipality and some bustle in the town. So.
Thank you. Councillor Lego.
And one meeting to our home for the aged on June the 3rd. It was moved up from the May meeting. Basically, everything's COVID related. There's been no cases in any of the 3 long-term care homes in Dryden, Red Lake, or Sioux Lookout. And pretty well all staff and residents have received the vaccine. And besides that, I was consumed by the walleye weekend for the last month. So now it's over. So that is everything.
Thank you. Well done. Councillor Timpson.
Oh yeah, I want to congratulate Councillor Lego for that initiative and for, creatively making it happen during this time. So good going. Unfortunately, I never catch fish, so I don't bother going, unfortunately. Anyhow, no, basic routine month KDMA meeting of the various municipalities around. They're going after the ministry to open Crown land more to the municipality so they can develop more and increase their tax base. It's a big issue. Library board meeting. Did a little bit of discussion between the municipality and the library board in terms of some of our working protocols, and environment committee, which you probably know we've been focused on a fair number of articles have gone into the paper about climate, composting, recycling in the last month or so, and the plastic bag issue, and the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, which is moving ahead. So other than that, I think I went to one Northwest Health Unit discussion on COVID, and I think that's about it for me.
Thank you. Councillor Bath.
Oh, you have the usual monthly things, base meetings and the RIF, that's the regional recovery meeting, loan meetings and the hydro meetings. So they're all pretty standard, and actually the RIF meetings are slowing down now. It looks like that's about the end of the funding. I did have a call from a citizen regarding the connection to the Wawate line that we have talked about for several years, and concerned that nothing was happening with it. So he asked me that I would bring it to council to try to keep it on the table. So there it is. And whether we do anything with it, it's hard to say, or can do anything with it, but it's good to keep it on the table for sure. That's all.
Thank you. I think I've been around the table. Did I miss anybody? Nope. Thanks. So I've had KDSP board meeting earlier in the month. There's the next one is tomorrow, actually. Meetings with the CAO and OPP, and also with our vulnerable population group regarding the camp that's sort of set up on First Avenue, east of First Avenue. Lots of discussion and trying to resolve things there. TRC meetings, as Councillor Timpson said, those are going ahead and been reasonably active there. Sat in on a part of the AMO Health Task Force, sat in on that, and was able to actually be quite vocal about our situation in terms of home care, lack of home care, long-term care, the need for it, paramedicine, and our need for mental health and addictions. They're focusing in the South on the opioid crisis. We still have something else here. Not that opioids aren't here, but we have an untended alcohol crisis, let's say. I sat in on a webinar, the head of Stats Canada, that was put on by Northern Policy Institute. Tried to ask a question about our under-censusing, but under-reporting and under-censusing. No, that's a tough one. But my question was recorded but not answered. And Northwestern Health Unit, we had board meeting and the municipal calls, and participated in the Provincial Association of Local Public Health Agencies annual conference, and moderated the afternoon session where the speakers were the incoming Dr. Kieran Moore, the incoming Chief Medical Officer of Health for Ontario, Jane Philpott, and others. It was quite a sort of a full cast, and it was interesting to moderate that. The incoming Chief Medical Officer of Health is very optimistic about Ontario opening up. And he says because there's actually a very good uptake in the vaccines across Ontario, and he expects that to keep on going. He doesn't think it's going to hit a hard ceiling too soon. Locally, I saw a report today that in our health unit, we're at 70% overall for the 18 plus age group across the region. We're at 70% first vaccine, and just a tad under 30% for second vaccines. The health unit is putting on more clinics and trying to push out more vaccines. So just use this to encourage everybody out there to get vaccinated and let us get back to normal. That's it. And CIO, are you raising your hand? Yes.
Yeah, if I could just put a plug in for the clinics as well, for the vaccination clinics. There are a number of them. So if people want to go to the Northwest Health Unit site, you can book directly through their portal, not the provincial portal, but theirs directly for Sioux Lookout and other communities that they cover. So we encourage people to go to the website. They will be walking clinics this weekend, but you can also book your appointments. I spoke to somebody today about that as well. So we encourage people to go on their website and book through their portal.
I saw personally the advantage of booking when I went to get my second shot of it about 2 weeks ago. I had booked an appointment. I came at the entry from the west side, and there was a lineup down the road on the east side of about between 20 and 30 people for walk-ins. I felt bad going in, but was the advantage of booking. But apparently those walk-ins got moved through quite quickly and efficiently, so it was not too bad at
Yeah,
all.
just a longer wait time, that's all.
All right, so we're down to the confirmatory bylaw, number 63-21, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipality of Sioux, June 16, 2021, regular council meeting be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councillor Howie, seconded by Councillor Fanlon. All in favor? Carried. And now we stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a good night, everybody.